In this episode of Mighty Car Mods, we are getting twisted on the dyno. In this episode of Mighty Car Mods, we're getting twisted on the dyno. It's time to make some bulk power. That can go down, mate. All good? Oh, it might even start if we're lucky. That'll be pretty exciting. Hey! Twisted lives. Twisted lives. All right, let's do this thing. It's my first time driving this car. Goes backwards while it's rolling, that's a good start. And now, oh, what is that? Oh, the clunking. That must be this crazy diff. Oh my God, that's the worst.
You can laugh all you like, but Twisted is going to have the last laugh when it dominates this dyno. Or it's going to explode.
Could you see the locked front diff?
I heard it before I saw it.
You should try, like the whole steering wheel goes goo-goo, 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 goo-goo.
I've actually become quite attached to this car, and even though I'm pretty sure it's going to explode today, regardless of whether you're into this style or not, I'm proud that I've been able to give it a second chance at life, even if I am about to kill it.
And then will you just bring this forward for the rear wheels?
We can, so the bed slides back and forward, so the front's already in and then we can drop the back in. But
yep.
It's a bit of work.
What I can do for today, like on the Focus RS, it's got like a special dyno mode that turns the rear off. Yeah. So I've just got a switch down here and I can just turn, I'll just turn the drive to the rear off and we'll just dyno it front wheel drive today, and that makes it a bit easier, less strapping down. And one of the things that we noticed last time was that the negative strap here has been catching on fire, and it caught on fire down here. It's really hot. Like from running it then, just like coming in, okay. It's really, really, now you can touch it, but normally if the car's running for 30 seconds, that's too hot to touch.
Okay.
Is that a problem? Part B, do you have fire extinguishers in here?
We do. We've got a few around for cars exactly like this, high resistance.
I mean, that was just like that because I've had it off because I didn't want to catch on fire.
Things like this, high resistance. Who knows where that actually even goes?
It goes down to where all the smoldered.
Obviously, it goes into the factory position for this engine. That's
the longest it's ever run, from the tow truck to here.
This lead is also concerning, but that's something we'll address later.
Just this. The rest of it's fine. So, Scotty, this is the moment that we've been working towards, the day that Too Sexy gets crushed on the dyno. What is the plan from here? We've obviously got our awesome Evo engine that's going to make some bulk power. What happens from here?
Well, I know last time we got a bit cut short, so things have changed a bit now that we know that the thing's got rods and pistons and probably cams and
it does have cams, yep.
A whole bunch of stuff. So I thought what we might do today is we'll get straight to the point first. So we'll get it on, we'll warm it up, and we'll try and discover some problems early and quick because we've got the whole day. So with any luck, if there's something wrong, we're in Wetherill Park, so we should be able to find bits and pieces to fix whatever we need.
Yep, okay.
The good thing about it, you figured out it's from old mate Mitsubishi from Meek.
Yeah, Meek Automotive, yeah.
So, man, in this era, back in the day and even around, well, I don't know if they're around now, but they were it. Like, that was the Mitsubishi gurus.
Yeah, right.
So,
and they built these for massive power, didn't they?
Huge.
Like he himself had some crazy power.
Yeah, so this was all a big deal. And it should be, as long as nothing's horribly wrong straight away, and as long as it's been kind of taken care of.
Look at it.
If the engine's been taken care of as good as the paint, we've got no worries.
From what I understand from the last 15 owners, I don't think it has been taken care of that well. But that is, it reversed in 30 metres. That's the farthest it's ever driven, as far as I know, in the last 10 years or whatever. So we know that it starts, it turns over. It is on ethanol now. It's a little bit rough to start, but that's probably because it doesn't have like a cold start tune for the ethanol. It's not like the Mini though, don't be scared. this actually does start.
It's a Mitsubishi, nothing wrong with Mitsubishi.
So I guess the thing is we just wind it up. We've disconnected the rear diff, of course, so we're just doing front wheel drive today. And we just see what kind of power we can get. 178's the power to beat, because that's what it made in its heyday in competition with you running the dyno, potentially, back in the day.
Yeah.
So 178 is the power to beat.
Well, I always say the first 100 kilowatts is the hardest to get.
Okay.
So if this thing can make 100, we'll go all right today. But that first 100 is the part where it's going to overheat, it's going to have head gasket issues, it's going to have boost leak issues, it's going to have all these problems. So if we can make 100,
It might have all these problems.
we'll just get on with it.
You sound like you know it's going to have all these problems.
Oh man, not much changes, and this style of car, like you know, I love it. I think they're so cool because of the era that it was around.
Yeah.
But they're so customised that as soon as we've got any tiny little problem that on a different car, on a stock car, is fairly easy.
Yeah.
If we have a tiny problem on this, we're pulling a heap of stuff apart to fix it.
So Scotty, what's the game plan when we're trying to dyno/tune something that we have no idea about its history and is also an unknown?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do before we even start it, I've just gone through and set up some engine protection stuff. So, say for example, because we're a bit nervous about head gaskets and that area.
And fire.
And fire.
Yeah.
Fire? Wait a minute, fire. So, coolant temp. So I've just set up an engine protection thing. So if we go above 110 Celsius,
Yes.
it'll go into a limp mode.
Okay.
If our air fuel ratio goes lean, it'll go into a limp mode.
Yep.
So as the tuner, I should be watching for all this stuff.
Yep.
But it just helps a bit because we're so busy looking at 3 monster tacos and just stuff everywhere. And if you think there's fire going to be somewhere,
Yeah.
if I set this up now before I do anything,
Yeah.
one, it sort of tests all the limits so that when you take it out on your own, what I've set up's right, because hopefully we never hit it.
Yes.
And then the other part of it, I don't really have to concentrate on looking at that so much because I'm busy doing other things.
So it'll just automatically do it. Yeah.
So I'm setting up a whole bunch of limits on all of the sensors first.
Yep.
Then I'm going to go through and set up my fuel and my ignition maps and this is a bit of an experience thing where I roughly know where this thing's going to make peak power and I roughly know what sort of timing or ignition timing it's going to need.
Yep.
So I rough in all the numbers now. And then when we start it, it's pretty much, we're just going to go through the tuning. So we're going to go to say 2000 RPM.
Yep.
And then we're going to do
Just hold it there.
0 to full throttle at 2000 RPM.
Okay.
And tune all of those parts. So get the timing to make the most tractive effort or the most force that we can make.
Yep.
And then we'll make sure that the fuel's in the right spot. Then we go to 2,500, then 3,
Okay.
then 4, then 5.
And then the figures in between that is where it's interpolating those figures and making averages between them of what makes the most sense between those two
Spot
figures.
on. So say, for example, if we tune 2,000 and then 3,000,
Yep.
the ECU will always be right interpolating between 2 and 3,
Yep.
an average of those two. But it also depends on where, if at 2,100, it definitely does use more towards the 2,000 than the 3,000,
Yeah,
for
okay,
example.
right. Yep. Well, hopefully the setup inside is like more solid than some of the setup has been in here, because this seat that I'm in, for example, we since found out
Oh, geez.
this was held in with 2 tech screws.
Oh, nice.
2 tech screws, little 20mm ones like that.
Oh, yeah.
And down here, where the seat bracket normally goes down, and then you bolt that down there, instead they'd added just a little sheet of metal with 2 holes. They'd bolted that sheet of metal onto the seat, and then just 2 tech screws into the car, and that's what was
Yeah,
holding the seat in. So I think this seat should only be used as a dyno seat, potentially not a track passenger seat.
Rushing
But
it.
hopefully we're in a better shape. Up the front.
Rushing to get to auto salon. I get how that happens and then you forget about it.
Do you really?
I hate to admit it, but I sort of do.
Not with a seat.
No, yeah, fair enough. Before we start, do you know what conrods are in this?
No.
Do you want to find out today?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, Too Sexy did it. We can do it better. He bent his, we should fly one right out into the roof.
Yeah.
Scotty finishes off getting some basic numbers into the tune, and that means we are ready to turn the key.
It's a little bit lazy to start.
Okay, we've got some numbers in there, so let's just see how we go. All right, clutch in. Whoop. And that's the throw out on the starter motor, so that's all right.
It'll start this time. Next time, just yeah. This is the time.
All right.
It's always the third time. It does
All right.
have E85 in it because I just filled it up.
Okay, we'll put some fuel in the maps and try and get it going like that. We'll put more fuel in the maps. All I'm doing is just sort of getting a bit of an idea where the ignition timing's firing and letting it warm up, because before we do any changes, we warm it up.
Yep.
So we've got a base, we know where to start from.
Yep.
Let's just put a bit of load on it. We're up to 78 degrees.
Okay.
Oh, there's a check engine light on. It says check engine.
Oh.
Check engine. There's
Check engine lights on, everybody.
Check engine. It's an Evo engine. Hey! Every time he gets in, he's like, yeah, that's right. That's sick. I'm a little bit nervous already here, to be honest.
Yep, okay.
Yeah. I just want to load it and clear it out a bit, just because it's been so long.
It's feeling rough, isn't it?
We're just going to go up to 70 kilometres an hour here.
The look on Dave's face says it all.
He's keen standing there, I reckon. Oh.
It's boosting. It's boosting.
Ready? A little bit of... it's good.
So we're just running the car in again. It's already made 79 kilowatts. And we don't need a clutch yet, so we're already doing better than our 260 did last time. We're just slowly cycling through the different rev ranges. We're going to keep going for a little while, heat cycle the car, turn it off, make sure there's nothing leaking or there's nothing on fire, and then we'll come back and do some power runs.
We're not even doing any work. Just look at Dave, pretty cool.
Are we near our 100 kilowatt target yet?
We're at 79.
79.
So we're going to bring her up a little bit. So I'm going to bring the RPM up.
Yep.
3,500 now.
85 kilowatts at the wheels. How are our temperatures?
Perfect.
Perfect.
We went up to 91 and then back to 84.
Great.
So the thermostat's opening
and working.
Fans are working, water's cycling.
Great. Is it normal to have oil coming out of the engine and coolant on the floor at this point?
Coolant on the floor after you've just redone it? Yeah, probably. You
Does
can't
it
see the
appear
bottom
at this
of that
stage like we have a blown head gasket?
Not yet. No. The day is early, my friend.
Before we go any further, we're going to re-inspect the spark plugs to see if there's anything of concern. They actually all look good, so we start wondering what exactly was wrong with this car in the first place.
It could be as simple as it just got cold started a bunch of times on a dead battery and it just failed up.
Yeah.
Because cars with no rego genuinely have a flat battery and failed spark plugs.
Yeah.
And old fuel, yeah.
Our next step is to replace some very old and very dodgy looking vacuum hose. It's actually a really rewarding experience slowly finding each problem with this car and then fixing it. And I know there's a lot of problems, but I also know that we are going to get it working again.
You're on the feeler rack again.
I am.
The feeler rack.
Don't tell people I do this, eh?
No, no one's going to see it. We won't even use this bit in the video.
Basically, in a factory car, you want a big plug gap. It doesn't make a huge amount of cylinder pressure, so you don't need a high-powered ignition system to light that fire. Whereas the more boost we make, the more cylinder pressure we have, we need a higher power ignition system, which obviously we don't have. So we're making the gap smaller, so under pressure, it's just a little bit easier to jump.
Yep.
So at the moment when we're making 100, we might make 150, 200 kilowatts. Probably not a big problem, but there's no downside to doing this in this particular car. So we may as well just drop them down a little bit.
Yep.
And at least that way, we're not going to have any headaches, it's just going to work.
With everything back together, it's time to get back on the dyno and see what improvements we've made.
We've re-gunned the spark plugs. We've checked, we do have oil leaks and coolant leaks, which is fine and normal. Our check engine light is on, which is fine and normal. We've rerun some new vacuum hose, which is fine and normal.
and now we're ready to make some too sexy crushing power.
Everything we expected to happen was going to happen. So now I'm just going to run it higher and higher in the RPM until we feel pretty comfortable, and then we'll give it its first sort of little power run just to then check the RPM sweep and make sure that it's going to get up there.
All right, let's do this.
You excited?
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
This is automotive archaeology at its purest, because normally by the time we see you, we've built the car, we know all about it, we have an intimate knowledge of exactly what's gone into it. This is just this is an unknown, and it's really, really exciting. All right, let's see if it starts.
Like a trooper.
Great. It's just loving it now.
That starter motor's really...
It sounds like a turkey.
Yeah. It's all right. Okay. Just in case we go anywhere, put the handbrake on, you know.
Just to lock those rear wheels. So what kind of area are we going to be running it up to at this point?
Fourth gear synchro. A little bit scary. We're probably going to go up to about 7,000 RPM, somewhere around there.
Oh, right, okay. So half what it's capable of. If this works, how much power is it going to make? What's the guess? And the winner, I'm going to give a box of gauge lines to. $1.99. $1.99. Is it rainbow gauge lines? No, the old school gauge lines. $1.99. $1.99. And your guess was 226?
226.
I'm going with the original power figure of 178. That's ethanol giving an extra, taking some off the age. So we've got 178, 199, 226. Winner, just so we're all agreed, gets a box of gate times, a 4-pack. Deal. If it gets over 200 kilowatts at the wheels, I'm going to donate $500.
Be careful what you say here.
No, I'm going to donate $500 to Reach Out, which is mental health for young people. It's a charity of which I'm an ambassador. If it makes over 200 kilowatts without blowing up and can do it repeatedly and reliably, $500, boom.
Oh, now you've made me.
Now I'm pulling on the heartstrings.
There's a bit more pressure here, isn't there? All right, let's shut the gate.
All right, let's do it. That felt good.
Well, it didn't die.
135 kilowatts at the wheels.
It did that on 7 pounds of boost. She's still alive.
I think if you flick that switch, it'll run 18
Really?
PSI. TD05 16G turbo running 18 PSI.
Let it rip.
Same, isn't it?
Same, no boost control.
Yeah. We've just flicked our boost control switch from high boost to low boost. There is no change to the actual output, which means that is not working or not connected. So we're going to find a workaround to get our massive boost levels back. So, Davo, it's got a boost controller and it already had a 2-stage boost controller. We've tried flicking that, it makes no difference. So the status of that is either broken, not working, could be a myriad of things. So
Cool.
what is the plan to bypass that?
Seeing as we have ECU that can do closed loop boost control, we may as well utilize the functionality of that. So we're wiring something simple, just like a little boost control solenoid like this.
Yep.
There would have been one on this at some point, but that all seems to be missing one now. So we'll grab one of these, we'll put a plug on it, 2 wires from the adapter harness inside the car. We'll join that together, we'll run that out, we'll test it and just make sure it clicks and functions like it normally should.
Yep.
And then we'll be able to intercept the pressure to the wastegate so we
Yep.
can actually do proper boost control.
While installing the boost control solenoid, we need to get access to the wastegate on the turbocharger, and this is located behind the pod filter, so we've removed it and found another major problem. Now from the outside it doesn't actually look that suspect, but there is a reducer to a reducer to a reducer. But what we've just seen is that the inside of this filter here, where it goes in and goes flat, this section on the inside, but it's actually completely blocking off
the intake. So there's actually no air able to get in there. It's probably got around 5% of the capacity that it used to. So we're just going to take this off like we should.
It's supposed to be a dose pipe.
It is supposed to be a dose pipe, so we're going to re-dosify it.
This was definitely a major restriction that would be holding Twisted back.
This is kind of like a DIY adapter to make the filter hit that. But the inside of the filter in here, where it goes flat, is the same size as this pipe. So when the pipe goes in like this, you can hear, it was actually sealed. So it wasn't sucking air through. Only a tiny amount. So now we're just going to go back to this, the way it should be, and hopefully we will see some improvement, at least in our noise.
The boost control solenoid is getting wired in, which means now our Haltech Elite will control our boost rather than the old school 2-stage boost controller. With this done, we can get back on the dyno, and I cannot wait to hear our Bankstown special dose pipe.
It's a spark problem.
This car now sounds absolutely incredible and period correct for the auto salon era. But we've got a spark issue, which means we've got to go through this mess and replace it with something modern that's actually going to work. We're replacing the coils and leads with a set from an LS1, and I'm also going to get a new set of spark plugs that are better suited to the application of this engine.
Instead of figuring out if it was leads or if it was plugs or if it was coils or if it was the factory igniter or whatever, this upgrade to do LS coils is so cheap that whatever part we were going to diagnose was going to cost more than this anyway.
Yeah.
So we're on the dyno, it's costing money to, like, for the labour. Just this is an upgrade and it fixes the problem at the same time.
Yeah, we hope it fixes the problem. But it should, because we've actually fixed every component that could possibly be the source of the problem.
Good way to fix it, really, just get on with it. And it was old, you know, all that stuff's, whatever it is, 2000 model, you know?
We've actually done a lot today so far, you know, believe it or not. And what's funny is that on the internet it looks like we've been here for 20 minutes, but it's been around 6 hours so far of like problem solving and checking and working things out. And that's the reality sometimes when you're owning a bit of a nugget of a car like that, is that you just don't know the history, you don't know where it's come from, and it takes some time to get it right. And I'd say this is the kind of time and the expertise, thanks to you guys, that most people probably wouldn't invest in a car like this, hence why it was so cheap. Because it's the experience and expertise you need to make this work again is beyond what most people have available to them.
But once it works.
But once it works, it's awesome. So are we doing it now? Is it power run time?
Just let's get on with up and up and up.
I'm pretty excited. I liked what you said earlier, which was if this car makes it off the dyno, Too Sexy doesn't have a hope. I like that.
But we're not off the dyno yet.
Oh, it's so good.
That's 18 pounds of Zududut now.
It's so good.
We're not mucking around anymore.
Oh! Whoa! Look at that curve. That was 196.2 kilowatts, everyone. So there it is, we've maxed it out. That's it. That's all there is to it. We'll turn it off and go home. Thanks so much to the guys from Health. What's that? You want to get some more?
Hang on. That was the first run. Let's just get a little bit of fuel in it.
And just remember, we're 3.8 kilowatts off a $500 donation to Reach Out. That was 196.2 kilowatts, just on a little test run there. Redonkulous.
I think we made it.
Oh, 205 kilowatts. Well done, Scotty.
Oh, congratulations on your donation. That's very kind.
So that's it, everyone. That's the maximum power for today, isn't it, Scotty?
No.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone.
Hang on.
It's 205.6 kilowatts. Of course, keep your eyeballs on. What's that?
Yeah.
He's doing more.
Let's keep on
We
looking.
can't handle any more.
Let's keep on looking.
There's no more can be possibly. What's that? We can.
We can do more.
Oh my God.
205 is pretty good, but I think we can do better. Do you think we can?
205 from a front, an all-wheel drive
Yeah.
Lancer coupe is, I think it's incredible.
That with a locked diff will be, it'll be really good.
That's more power than I had in my WRX. It's more power than I had in my Forester. Probably more power than I had in my S15, in my 180SX. This is the ultimate vehicle. It's the ultimate all-wheel drive machine.
A few changes to the fuel, and that's all we're doing at the moment, is just going through and just trying to smooth it out a little bit.
Great. See how we go. Was that engine protection?
Yeah, something funny.
And just when I thought it was too good to be true, it was.
Yeah, we're back to engine protection because, oh no, it's not. It's a trigger issue, that one. That one's telling us that there's something going on with the crank angle sensor.
Opening the bonnet, we can see this. It's not actually plugged in, but it was. But the clips are broken, which means that maybe it's just like wiggled itself loose somehow, which is a good thing because otherwise who knows how deep that wormhole of an issue would have gone. So we're just going to kind of attach this the best way we can. Hashtag cable tie.
We were expecting the worst, but a plug that's simply come out, it really is Twisted's lucky day.
Come on, Twisted. Show us some 2WISTD dominating power.
3, 2, 1, go!
Whoa! 223.1 kilowatts, everybody. Absolutely redonkulous.
That's good power, isn't it?
That is insane. Oh, 2WISTD's gonna get whooped so bad. I feel really sorry for him now. Do you feel a bit sad for him?
No. Proper 40. In this car,
A proper Evo.
proper Evo. What can go wrong?
So it's been an amazing day here on the dyno. We've had to do a little bit to get the car going, but now it is going absolutely awesome. Like, it's far beyond my expectations. It's making more power than it's ever made in its whole existence, which is really exciting. We've ended up with around 223 kilowatts at the wheels. That's 300 horsepower at the wheels. Just listen to it for our American friends. So that's it, that is the dyno done. We're now just smoothing it out, making sure that the car will cruise properly, making sure that all the timing is right. So there's a little bit more to do on the dyno, but we've got our numbers, 18 PSI. And now it is time to absolutely dominate 2WISTD. Bring it to the street, bring it to the track, bring it anywhere you like. This is the domination of 2WISTD. All in good fun, of course, except whatever happens to the loser, it will be both devastating, highly emotional, and extreme. So there it is. Thank you very much for watching. Of course, thank you to Scotty, thank you to Dave, thank you to all the crew from Haltech. Thanks for everyone who's been watching this series, because of course it's been really exciting to have you along for the ride, and I will see you for the battle of Twisted versus 2WISTD, battle of the sexes.